Hello, my name is Brennan Ferris, and my favorite movie is the very first Avengers movie that came out in 2012. And there's many reasons why this is my favorite movie. First of all, what the movie accomplished financially was a big success. It grossed $1.5 billion worldwide at the box office. And this was coming off four previous movies that they had done: Iron Man 1 and 2, The Incredible Hulk, Captain America, the First Avenger, and Thor. And aside from Iron Man, the rest of them were not the most financially successful, but they kept going and they kept sticking with their game plan of what they had laid out, and they were determined, and they made the Avengers, which was an ensemble of all those other movies combined to culminate into this one movie, which also had never been done before, which was a very impressive thing to do. And the fact that they made 1.5 billion at the box office was a big success also because leading up to that movie, superhero movies had not had the biggest success in recent years anyways. There was some X-Men movies which did okay, and then there was some of the old Spider-Man movies, but there wasn't really that much awareness for superhero movies in general. And now that today they're responsible for all the excitement towards and popularity of superhero movies today, which is not like nothing ever happened before. The other reason that I liked this movie was because of what they did with the characters. So starting off with the villain Loki, they brought Loki from the first Thor movie, which had never been done before. Usually in movies, people don't have recurring villains, so they brought the villain back for a second time, which is a risky move to start off with. Also, they maintained each character's specific personality in the movie that they had in their own individual solo films, and they brought them together, and the lack of chemistry between them in the beginning of the movie was really fun to see how they interacted with each other, and how they argued with each other in the quips back and forth, and they weren't really getting along and flowing, and you could tell it was a very well written script and characterization, that so you could tell that they weren't getting along. But then in the part of the movie, one of their team members dies, who's trying to help bring them together, and it makes it personal for the characters. And so in the end, they all get spread out, and then they all come together to just defeat the villain Loki in the end. And also the cinematography in the movie is something which I really enjoyed about it. The scene where they come together, before they come together, they show them each individually, like after they've been beaten down, and then they get back up, and you can see the look in their face, and in the camera angle that they show a low angle, so it's pointing upwards, so it shows the heroes like rising down from the ground, and then they all gather into the city together to fight Loki. And there's this scene where one of the big aliens comes, and the Hulk transforms into the Hulk, and he takes it down, and then they're all standing in a circle, and the camera pans around and encircles them to show off all the characters in that scene. And while Iron Man flies down, and then all the aliens around in the city are looking at them yelling while they're looking back at them. And it's a really cool scene to see. I still remember going to the theater, and a lot of people were cheering for that scene. And a lot of that has to do with the the camera and how the camera work that went into that, making that scene possible. And that scene again, when the camera encircles them, the music starts to build up when Hulk starts to punch that big alien. And then once the camera pans around the heroes and encircles them, and then the music has gotten to its loudest point. And the theme music in that movie was really good. And the music made you feel more excited and showing off the characters' confidence that they had finally come together and they were going to complete the goal that had been set in the beginning of the movie to do what they set out to do originally. When the heroes are in New York, there's this action scene that begins following Iron Man flying around the city, and then it leads off into Black Widow and Thor and Hulk fighting aliens, and then they fly down, and then you see Captain America, and then Hawkeye shoots an arrow from the building, and you see his arrow fly by going back to Iron Man, and Iron Man comes down fighting, and it's this one long shot that has no cuts in it, and it's really makes it more interesting for the viewer to get that feeling of they're in that moment in time in the story that there's non-stop fighting. It's showing that there's a non-stop action and that it's a high energy scene. Throughout the entire movie, the plot stays on track and there's never a moment wasted, in which I like this because it keeps the audience engaged with what's happening, and it makes the movie fly by, and it makes it seem gives it a more faster pace, which is good for the story because it's a lot of action in the movie, and it just makes it a funner, more enjoyable experience for the audience to watch, and makes it more exciting for them and more engaging. It never goes off track of what it's trying to do as a movie. So the fact that it had all odds stacked against it in the box office, and they tried something that had never been done before in film, and the script, the plot, the action, the cinematography, all those factors are the reasons why I love this movie so much, and it's my favorite film of all time.